Long ago, in a kingdom hidden beyond ancient forests, there stood a magnificent white stone castle where a widowed king lived with his 3 daughters. Everyone admired the beauty of the princesses, but no one knew that a mysterious curse was about to change their lives forever. Deep within the dark forest, an enchanted creature waited for someone with a truly kind heart. 2 proud princesses would fail the test, but the youngest daughter was about to make a promise that could either save a forgotten prince or trap her in fear forever. The eldest princess, Margaret, was breathtakingly beautiful but extremely proud. She believed no one was worthy of her attention. The middle sister, Clemence, simply copied everything Margaret did without thinking for herself. The youngest princess, Elise, was different. While her sisters were admired for their beauty, Elise was loved for her kindness, honesty, and gentle heart. She treated every servant, animal, and stranger with respect, believing that true greatness came from compassion rather than appearance. Near the castle lay an ancient forest where a crystal-clear spring sparkled beneath the trees. Elise often visited the peaceful place carrying her favorite possession, a small golden ball that had belonged to her late mother. One warm afternoon, the 3 sisters visited the spring together. As Margaret admired her reflection, a large green frog suddenly emerged from the water and politely asked for help. Instead of listening, Margaret laughed in disgust, called the frog a filthy creature, and threw a stone at it before walking away. Clemence simply followed her sister, mocking the helpless frog without a second thought. After they left, Elise stayed behind, gently tossing her golden ball into the air. Suddenly, it slipped from her hands, rolled across the stones, and disappeared into the deep spring. Heartbroken, Elise burst into tears. Moments later, the same frog rose from the water and offered to retrieve the ball. In return, he asked for only one thing, not jewels or riches, but her friendship. He wished to eat beside her, sit with her, and stay in her room for 3 nights. Though frightened, Elise looked into the frog's strangely human eyes and sensed deep sadness hiding behind them. She made a sincere promise. The frog dove into the water and soon returned with the shining golden ball. That evening, while the royal family enjoyed dinner, a familiar voice echoed outside the castle door. The frog had come to remind Elise of her promise. Shocked whispers filled the hall, but when the king heard the story, he looked at his daughter and said, "A true princess always keeps her word." Though embarrassed by the laughter of the court, Elise welcomed the frog inside. She allowed him to eat beside her and gave him a warm place to rest. With every passing night, keeping her promise became more difficult, yet she refused to break her word because kindness means doing what is right, even when it feels uncomfortable. On the 3rd morning, as the first rays of sunlight entered the room, Elise awoke to a miracle. The frog had vanished. Sitting beside her was a handsome young prince with kind, familiar eyes. He introduced himself as Prince Henrik and revealed that many years earlier an evil witch had cursed him after his father rejected her cruel demands. The spell could only be broken if a princess accepted him willingly and honored her promise for 3 nights without abandoning him. Margaret had rejected him with cruelty. Clemence had ignored him, but Elise's compassion had finally broken the ancient curse. Soon, a magnificent royal carriage arrived, driven by Henrik's loyal servant Friedrich, who had searched for his master every single day for years. Overwhelmed with joy, he escorted the prince and Elise toward Henrik's kingdom. During the journey, 3 loud cracks echoed through the air. Startled, Henrik feared the carriage was breaking apart, but Friedrich smiled through tears. Years of sorrow had been so heavy that he had worn 3 iron bands around his chest to hold his broken heart together. Now, with his beloved prince finally free, each iron band shattered one after another, unable to contain his happiness. When they reached the kingdom, bells rang across the land as people celebrated the return of their long-lost prince. Henrik's mother embraced her son with tears of joy, and the entire kingdom welcomed Elise as the brave princess whose kindness had ended the curse. Their wedding became a celebration not only of love, but of honesty, compassion, and keeping one's promises.
Prince Henrik ordered the palace gates to remain open so no hungry person would ever be turned away.